So the nightmare is just about over, of course, at the Hawthorns. Blackburn Rovers embarrassed by a West Bromwich Albion side that barely got out of second gear. 4-1 demolition job. It could have been even 8, 9 even. Goodness gracious, they had so many chances to really run riot. And I think the finger is not pointing at Rovers' defence. Well, yes, it is. But it's also the West Bromwich Albion finishing. If they had their shooting boots on, they would have could have been a double-digit scoreline. Of course, big benchmark in the JDT era today. The first point, realistically, I think, where we've all come together, the Rovers fan base, and think, where are we going right now? The form is absolutely wobbly, of course, without a win in forever in the league. And grim times ahead, of course. Yeah, so questions starting to be raised by the Rovers fan base. I'm not at the point where I say that JDT has to go, but realistically, when you look at this kind of form, it is a sackable kind of form. If you were any other club, including West Bromwich Albion, if you had this kind of form, guess what? You'd be be thinking, okay, it's time to have that conversation. And of course, time to consider the managerial's position. So yes, fans Rovers fans around the world are at loggerheads and of course at trigger point. They're ready to pull the trigger, but we ain't got no pennies to rub together in order to get rid of the coach. So to be honest with you, I don't see anything changing. And not like I want to see anything changing. I'm just saying it ain't gonna happen through our own backs. If the managerial situation changes at Rovers, it will be down to JDT saying, you know what, I've had a fucking enough. But let's talk about the game itself. West Brom were good. They were good from the get-go, but I think the flags of surrender were raised by Blackburn Rovers before kickoff. No Sammy Smodic. Where is he? Of course, the leading championship goal scorer, nowhere in sight, not even on the bench today. And of course, that was a major concern for me as a Rovers fan watching this game. Where are the goals going to come from? Of course. But on the bright side, before a ball was kicked, we did see the likes of Pears, JRC and Sam Gallagher on the bench. So that's, of course, some reassuring news for the future, of course, for Rovers. But regardless of all that, we looked flat, we looked stale, we looked stagnant. There was no spark in this Rovers team from the get-go. And of course, West Brom took the lead through a hustling, bustling player who I love to bits. I think he's a quality player. Thomas Asante, of course, great strike, burst on the scene, great goal, put the game to the sword to Rovers and really said, you know what, let's. And they didn't really, they weren't free flowing, West Brom. It was just a couple of moves thrown together and they took the lead and fair play to them, because whenever they had the ball they just made it count and of course took advantage of our woeless, confidence starved defence. Of course, yes, if you look at the back four, not bad on paper when you look at Dom Hyam, Carter, Scotty Wharton there, Callum Britton. On paper, not too bad, but for like confidence-wise, mentality, they are not there. Do not even get me started on Leo Welshtat. Of course, the guy brought in the summer to replace Thomas Kaminski, who has, despite going on to Luton Town in the Premier League, who are struggling. And of course, Kaminski's done pretty well for himself in regards to his reputation. Welshtat came with a bit of high hopes that, you know what, maybe we've got ourselves a gem here. And I do believe the jury's still out, is monumentally out on Welshtat. And of course, games like this or periods in your footballing career will be judged upon like this. So right now he's going through the slumps. Not good. And of course, if everybody's fully fit and ready to go, Welshtat will be back up to Ainsley Pears, because confidence is a major factor. And he's got none. He's got zero confidence. Despite pulling off a couple of good saves, denying West Brom today, that's an area of the field that we need to reevaluate, and fast. And that same can be said for the back line as well. Hayden Carter looked shit. Scotty Wharton at fault, I think, for a couple of goals. Tronstad as well was not at his very best. So a lot of players playing on fumes, it looks like. Why? Because we've got no other depth to come through. Fortunately, maybe the light is at the end of the tunnel. The Gallaghers, JRCs, the Pears, and maybe some others, Ryan Hedges, edging closer to full fitness to provide this team some response or a little bit more depth to it. Because despite Jake Garrett's goal here, of course, there was not too much to get excited about. We're pinning our hopes on Arne Sigurdsson, who it can be hot and cold. And of course, when Sammy Smarsh is not involved, where are the goals going to come from? Which points flags or put the attention on the club itself. What are we doing? We got rid of Travis, a hustling, hard tackling, no nonsense player to bring in a couple of youngsters who don't even get a sniff in today. Is that it? Is that where the buck stops here, or are we going to be bringing in some players? We need some quality, or we're going to get sucked into that relegation zone. We might not be in it right now, but of course, if we keep on playing the way we're playing, things are going to get nasty. As for West Brom, they've got the quality there. DK's coming back. Of course, he had a couple of chances himself. And of course, playing some good football. And of course, they will leave today with their heads held high and actually maybe feel a little bit pissed because they could have got more than that today. But ultimately, Rovers, shambles, poor all over the board. And the only shining light was that goal for Garrett. But besides that, we are looking forward to putting this one to bed. Let's see what the next few days unfolds. Is there some weird shit going on behind the scenes? Will JDT... Again, let's touch on the managerial situation right now. For me, I don't know. I don't know where my head is at. But for the club itself, realistically, they're not going to do anything stupid. They've got no money to make a managerial decision such as this. And there's no expectation on JDT to be challenging for playoffs. So I don't think they will make a decision like that. JDT might have some other things up his sleeve. He seems like a well-rounded individual with his heart in the right place and his head in the right place. He might think that things have gone too far and just cannot get themselves out of this shit and might want to cut his ties while things are the way they are. If that was the case, then of course we'll have to reevaluate who is out there to, of course, to guide this club through this rough period. And again, if you are one of those people that say, get rid of him, there's no point of it, be careful what you wish for. There's a lot of Lee Johnsons in the world, no disrespect, Gareth Ainsworths in the world out there who, of course, would be looking to resort or try to save their own careers by taking over a situation like this. So be careful what you wish for. The Steve Coopers of the world, the Paul Heckingbottoms of the world, or situation things like that are not highly likely to be happening for Blackburn Rovers if we were to reevaluate our managerial situation. We've got to be careful what we got out there. And of course, let's just take our time. Next 4 games are at Ewood Park, whether they're in the Cup or the League, and they're very winnable games, or at least games that we should be able to get some points out of, and of course turn the situation around. But it is tough times right now as a Blackburn Rovers fans. Our first tough, sticky period in the JDT era. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below as we, of course, lick our wounds from this big, heavy 4-1 defeat at the Hawthorns.